Princess Program. Book 1. Chapter 2, The Transformation. The princesses were led to their new dormitory, a spacious building they'd be sharing with students from the convent of the Holy Infant, St. Joseph's Sister School. The dorm was a blend of tradition and modernity, with wooden floors, large windows, and pastel-colored walls. Chris sat on the edge of the small wooden bench in the dressing room, the uniform laid out neatly before him. The white blouse and green skirt seemed so delicate, almost unreal, and yet they represented the beginning of something entirely new. His fingers trembled slightly as he picked up the blouse, the crisp fabric cool against his skin. Sliding his arms through the sleeves, Chris carefully buttoned up the blouse, the sensation both strange and exhilarating. He couldn't ignore how the soft fabric felt against his skin, so different from the stiff uniforms he was used to. Next, he reached for the green skirt. Standing, he stepped into it and pulled it up, adjusting the waistband until it sat snugly on his hips. He glanced down, a nervous smile playing on his lips at the sight of the flowing fabric brushing against his knees. Taking a deep breath, Chris sat back down and picked up a pair of knee-high white socks. Rolling one up his leg, he noticed how meticulous he had to be, smoothing out any wrinkles. It was a small detail, but it felt significant, as though every action was a step deeper into this new identity. Then came the makeup. A small vanity mirror rested on the table, and beside it lay a basic kit that had been left for him. Chris's hand shook as he picked up the foundation, dabbing it onto his face with uneven strokes. The first attempts were clumsy, leaving streaks that he had to carefully blend away. Next came the blush, a soft pink that added a delicate warmth to his cheeks. Eyeliner was the most challenging. His first few lines wobbled and he had to wipe them off and start again. But with each attempt, his confidence grew, and soon his reflection showed dark, defined eyes that sparkled with something new. Finally, he reached for the lipstick. The pale pink shade glided on smoothly, and he pressed his lips together, marveling at the subtle sheen it gave. Chris leaned back, taking in the changes. It was still him, yet not him at all. The last touch was the wig. The black, shoulder-length hairpiece felt strange as he positioned it carefully over his head, tucking in stray strands of his own hair. He adjusted it until it framed his face perfectly, soft waves cascading just past his jawline. When he finally stood and turned toward the full-length mirror, Chris was struck silent. The person staring back at him was someone he barely recognized, a girl with delicate features, her eyes wide with wonder. Nervousness still buzzed in his chest, but it was accompanied by a growing exhilaration, a thrill that came from seeing this new version of himself come to life. Around him, the other 11 newly selected princesses were similarly engaged in their transformations. The vibrant green of their skirts contrasted sharply with the pristine white of their blouses, a striking visual representation of their dual roles as students and morale boosters. Chris took a tentative step closer to the mirror, his skirt swishing gently with the movement. He smoothed his hands over the fabric, his lips curving into a small smile. Nervous or not, this was a moment he'd never forget. "This is the princess I'm going to become," he whispered, his voice filled with both awe and determination.
Princess Program. Book 1. To be continued.